Counsellor at the Romanian Embassy in the Netherlands, will make it easy for all of us to understand what is the role of the Romanian Embassy in the Netherlands. Before we start, let's go quickly through the technical rules. Please keep your mic on mute all the time in order to avoid the ear-splitting feedback. And if you have any questions, kindly address them in the general chat to be addressed in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar, of the presentation. So, Mr. Mateescu, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And that's good to see you all. Many, let's say, familiar faces, and somehow I feel lucky because I'm in the last I'm having this presentation in the last day of the series of the webinars dedicated to this theme, this important theme, doing business in the Netherlands, an initiative that has started 4 years back. And this initiative, it came from NRCC, one of the best partners that the Trade Office Romania has in this large and complex sector of the trade and bilateral economic relations promotion. So now, you know, I'll just tell you at the beginning, just to, you know, launch a little bit easily this discussion, because I would like to have it as much as we could a free discussion, a free presentation, and an interactive one. That this event actually is my last official event that I'm organizing. I'm having it here in The Hague after 5 years of my mandate here as a trade counselor. So making the story short, let's go into our subjects. So can we see the presentation? Let's start the slides, please. Next. Well, yes, that's first of all just to, you know, give you a little bit of impression of what the Netherlands, Romania, and in a European Union aggregate means in terms of competitiveness. I mean, of course, I won't go into those informations about what's the distance between the countries, what are the most common alliances, where Netherlands stands, and all this, you know, basic things, because these are, you know, all known for everyone that wants to go and do business together with one of our main economic partners in EU, which is the Netherlands. So I just, you know, I won't sophisticate too much, because if you have a look of the table over there in the upper side, you'll see, for example, that the GDP of the two countries in 2020, although a little bit smaller that it has recorded in 2019, and from obvious reasons, that's like 800 billion euros in the Netherlands, and about 4 times less in Romania, to a comparable population, let's say. But what it's interesting to see and to put it in you know, in the mirror, with this information about the current prices, nominal GDP billion euros, is the fact that when we look into the exports, for example, the exports of the Netherlands. So the exports of the Netherlands would be, as I told you, less. So the figures in 2020 anyway, there are not as advantageous as it has been. They have been over the years, prior years. Netherlands, for example, is 600 billion, 620 billion, and Romania would be about 81 exports. So I can tell you, you look across European Union and many other countries, you won't see many with this type of correlations. I mean, you add imports and exports, and you see definitely that these two aggregated, of course, goods and services, they'll be more than the GDP. So that's something that you won't see so very often. And that's why we say that Netherlands is the most intensive foreign trade partner. I'll show you later on, but that's good to know for yourself and have in mind this. Now the Dutch, they are a born trader nation. I mean, we do not have to forget who has invented the first multinational, the East India Corporation, that has done business across the world. And you know that when Dutch went into colonies, they went for not for conquering but for doing business, and that's it. So many of these figures, I mean, imports and exports that you'll see here, they mainly get into their body also the re-export. So import for re-export. So and that's how it is known in the specialized theories, Rotterdam effect. I mean, for example, taking into discussion the connection between Romania and the Netherlands, you'll see later on that we are incurring a high deficit, trade deficit with the Netherlands. But you have to keep in mind that about 40%, that's a lump sum considered by this, take into consideration this Rotterdam effect. About 40% of that figure of the trade deficit come actually from the fact that we, according to Eurostat, we count as Dutch origin products also the Toyotas, the iPhones, I have to name 3 at least, iPads, whatever other products and goods they are imported from third countries. And that's where, for example, that's how an iPhone that is brought from China, or a Toyota from Japan, is becoming a Dutch import into Romania, and not all. Good. So that's the trade deficit. If you look at the last 2 columns, now look at it. It's interesting. Of course, that's over 80 billion euros, a surplus of trade for the Netherlands, while Romania is in deficit with about 10 billion during 2020. Now 2021, it looks rather better than these figures, but I have to draw your attention on something. And now we are going to the next slide, please. Well, here we can see something interesting, and then I won't bother you with more other figures, but that's what is important is that, for example, in 2020, so last year, Romania, in connection with the Netherlands, it was the only country among the 10 first partners, and not only, with an increase in Romanian exports. Last year it was a heavy year, everyone knows that. So Romania was the only one. Okay, people might say, yeah, but we recorded increase of exports with other countries also. Yes, indeed. But then the trade deficit also decreased in the Romanian side. I mean, that's the correlation that we always have to look into. Next slide, please. Yes, and here it's what actually I have told you earlier, and the information is in US dollars, because I have inputted a historic evolution. I mean, the statistics starts with 89. So look at it. Once we got into European Union 2007, everything exploded, and that's not only because it was a free market, and it was a unique market, a single market, because for the industrial goods, everything was opened before the accession. Only the agricultural products, they had to still have some contingents and some duty taxes. So this has happened because of the Rotterdam effect. Once in European Union, we go to Eurostat statistics. So that's why it has exploded, the trade between us. And here in these curves, it's not only the Dutch. They are not only the Dutch products, but anyhow, the good evolution that anyone can see is that during the crisis, people has concentrated more on doing business in an efficient way. I mean, the gap between the trade and the import and export got reduced, hence the deficit also. Next, please. Well, let's go to the sectors, because that's where actually now Romania has to somehow correlate in terms of business with the Netherlands. So here we do have one of the main sectors between us and vibrant and active is agriculture and food. So agri-food. And here I'm just giving you an example. Now, agri-food has a very important role between our two countries. First of all, there are several projects started by the authorities in the Netherlands in relation with Romania to assist. Ari Veldhuizen, he's the agricultural attaché in the Dutch embassy in Romania, and he has, together with his colleagues in the Ministry of Agriculture here in the Netherlands, with his predecessor, Mr. Emma Hemeke, with the colleagues in the embassy, they have started programs. One of those programs, for example, is named Green Education. And that's important, because actually what is happening during this program is that that's a focus on activities to promote the development of the small farmers, of the young farmers. This way, they, let's say, having a different approach. I mean, look what is happening here in the Netherlands. I mean, you go in any farm over here, and the conditions are like in any factory. I mean, you want, that's this image that being a farmer, you have to be always dressed not in so very clean, clothes and all these things, and working from 9 to 5 is not an issue. You can't do things like this. Well, it's not entirely true. I mean, I have visited several farms. I have visited also some agricultural exploitation. They are living same as we do, or any other people in the urban area. They don't lack anything. I mean, and in terms of profession, everything is there. So now, talking about this, we have to mention that the gap, I mean, the trade deficit in the agri-food sector, it's huge. Now, you've seen that 80 billion is the surplus of the Netherlands in 2020? Well, entire Romania had exports of 81 billion. I mean, they had 83 surplus and we have 81. So you can imagine. And now I'm giving you another example because Mr. Bogdan Boianu, the chairman, the president of FRULAG, one of the most active associations in the fruits and vegetables in Romania. He has wonderful projects to promote, and he knows these figures. That's a huge gap between what the Netherlands exports in terms of fruits and vegetables. That's about 18 billion euros, and what Romania is exporting. So when I speak about exports, I'm not talking about bilateral, I'm talking about global. And while Romania is into some 20-30 million per year. So I mean, the multiplication coefficient, its index, it's unbelievable. So that's why it has been initiated a project together with FRULAG, with Mr. Bogdan Boianu, to start promoting exports of fruits and vegetables towards the Occidental Europe, to the Western Europe, and this is by using the knowledge, the logistics, and the whole system from the Netherlands attached to the fruits and vegetables, easily or simply spoken, to export to Romania, to export to Germany, to France, to Belgium, to Luxembourg, to the Scandinavian countries through the Netherlands. That would be an idea we are exploring together with Mr. Bogdan Boianu, and most probably somewhere next year in the first quarter, a trade mission with the Romanian farmers shall try to open up more channels in order to identify business partners and to start doing this. Creative industry, whoa. You know, when you take into account that, I don't know, you name those, Spotify, Netflix, whatever, all this with all these shows with people on islands, with things like this. These are all, you know, these are all Dutch made. I mean, there's only franchise going in all over the world. So they know exactly, and they do a perfect job when it comes to start looking at creativity. And creativity has so many facets. Chemical industry, well, yes, don't forget AkzoNobel. It's one of the biggest multinational in the world globally, doing business in this chemical. And just to tell you how they are doing it, I mean, they have so when you think of the Netherlands, think first to Rotterdam. I mean, people would say Randstad, you know, that's Amsterdam, that's many other parts of the country. But first of all, business means Rotterdam. And what they have done, that's the getaway towards whole Europe. What they have done, they have developed you know, these man-made islands, like, you know, to expand the ports into the seas. And they have put Maasvlakte 1, Maasvlakte 2, there's 2 man-made islands. And then they have developed possibilities of tanking, storage of chemical products, of things like this. But at the beginning, they have thought of having those you know, areas developed for the dry storage. No, it has been proven that it has been changed into LPG storage tanks, into chemical, into whatever is needed to do business around the world. And this is not the last thing, because we are going to look into energy, for example. What do you think? Netherlands has decided, and not only that they are talking, they have decided to go for hydrogen as the innovative and visionary source of energy for tomorrow. Well, you'd say, yeah, many people talk about hydrogen, yeah, but they are not only talking, as I told you. They have a strategy for developing hydrogen as a source of energy. They have written it about 2 years back. That's one. Second thing is that they have decided, and that's their strategy, the Dutch strategy, to transform Rotterdam, I mean the port of Rotterdam, to transform it into a real hub, into a trade stock exchange of hydrogen, Borza, because the Dutch also discovered, and they have been first to implement this market and trading system named stock exchange. They were first about maybe 400 years back. So that's how it is. And actually that's where, for example, we have done, I mean, the trade office, Romania, together with companies in the Netherlands, in Romania, we have done a good connection into a, let's say, dedicated webinar where all the stakeholders, they took part last July, in order to see for the places where we should go in order to expand our inter and intra departmental cooperation. And here I'm not talking only about institutions. I'm telling you. So there have been Nobian, there have been companies like Gazuni, Hazuni, like the Dutch are saying. From our side, King Complex, Aeon, Petrom. So these people that really they push the thing forward. And of course, there are a lot of SMEs behind, trying to fill the whole line behind, in order to look into this, because this will we have to think out of the box. We said creative industries. Now these guys are pushing it further, looking at the disruptive way of doing business. I mean, once this hydrogen or any other innovative development is there, it is needed. And there'll be some more industries needed to come over, to take over, to look into standards, to look into technology, to look how to really build up those. And just to finish up with this subject, they have invested, the Netherlands have invested, I mean, with subsidies, something about 1 billion or even in excess of it, in order to develop the hydrogen sector. Well, high tech, I don't need to tell you more, because here we talk about Galileo, we talk about many other technologies, we talk about IT&C. Now that's where Romania can do something with it. And that's 2 months back, it was in October that we have a good webinar organized between Romania and the Netherlands into this ITC. And this is a good example, and another good example, because this webinar today, it's a living proof of the cooperation between Trade Office Romania, NRCC, and some other factors, but mostly between ourselves, because at a certain point, NRCC asked me, what do you think? Should we go for, how could we help this company, ISOskills, that they wanted to touch the market, to fill it and to start expanding on it. a Romanian company, and I said, let me talk to them. Of course, we'll do something about it. And what do you think? We have transformed this discussion with ISO skills into a webinar, because the thing is this. Now you start looking at the fact from at a certain horizon, only by opening a very small gap into with your door or your window, you see only part of it. You have a bigger view, you have a bird's eye perspective, that's a different story. So that's how ISO skills, Qualitans, ATIC, I mean the ITNC association in Romania. So they came together, some other companies, so stakeholders, NRCC and so forth, and we have done a good webinar. So ITNC. Do not forget that Cybersecurity Center, European Cybersecurity Center is in Bucharest. So that's another advantage that we have to build on, or we should. Now logistics, what should I tell you about logistics? Now, these guys are the champions. I mean, the Dutch, they are the champions in terms of logistics. They have everything in their hands in terms of, you know, crossroads and strategic storage and custom facilities and ports and so on. So then if we are looking also life science and health, now I have to tell you something. Now life science and health, do not forget Philips, although have started as a lighting companies with bulbs in, you know, producing bulbs and so. Now they are one of the biggest suppliers and providers and manufacturer of medical equipment. So that's where actually from Romania we do have companies that they cooperate with the companies in the Netherlands in order to develop this sector also. So let's go for the next slide.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. You want me to change?
Next slide. Next slide.
Okay.
Please. Well, here that's a little bit of. So I won't read the figures loud because you can read them also. That's the structure of the business between the two countries, and some of those hot business opportunities I was referring earlier. They are here, but just not to forget that's the in the agri-food, there's also the meat processing very important. And here we are talking not only pork, beef, fowl, but also fish. Because as far as I remember, and I'm remembering very correctly, in PLMA, one of the main trade fairs in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, Amsterdam, we have been there with the National Pavilion, and we had Rio Negro, I think, by that time. But there's also Dori Pesco, for example, that's is here with us today. So that's good business that these companies are doing with the Netherlands. We could do even better than that, because when it comes to you know, the processing of meat, of fish and things, this nation, which is a maritime, a sea open nation, they are very good. Wines, well, I could tell you many things about wines. Now, Romanian wines are exotic considered here in the Netherlands, because we have changed a bit. We have changed 180 degrees. I mean, wines, quality wines before 89 or even early 90s, they were totally different of what we are finding today on the market. And the Dutch, they are discovering by the day the Romanian wines. Of course, they will look very attentive into the prices, but the Dutch, they are not looking only to the wine prices. They are very peculiar about how the prices are, you know, discussed and seen. That's why that's something that everyone that needs or wants to go and to come on this market has to be very attentive how to negotiate, how to discuss prices, because people in the Netherlands, usually they are discussing large scale business, and then they would expect prices would be the same. Of course, if things happen differently, then of course you have to adjust your policy. So I told you about ITNC. That's something that I want to not to forget. Organic, it's also important, and that's very looked for. Dairy, goat, milk products, for example, also honey bee products. And then ITNC, IoT, it's in-house. Many times it is developed over here, so that's why nearshoring with Romania, it's a line of business. Gaming, again, that's something that between Romania and the Netherlands goes very well. Mobile solutions, don't forget that many of the phone supplier solutions, they are here, mobile. Industry, building materials, cryogenic, electrotechnic, aero and aviation equipment. That's something that goes for a long time now, because don't forget FOCA, it's present in Romania for since I think since 15 years or so. So and they are doing a tremendous job. They are cooperating with Baco and not only Romero and so forth. Medical equipments and consumables, as I told you, personal protection equipment, cleaning and biocide materials. Furniture actually, it's about maybe 10% of our exports, and that's where and not only furniture, nowadays is also the exports of small wooden products, even toys from Romania. Transportation and logistics, well, we can't think of doing business without transportation and logistics. And look what is happening nowadays with doing business with the faraway countries. Okay, I just name it this way because it's much simpler. Then ship and harbor operations, shipbuilding industry. Of course, everyone knows Damen, it's one of the main players into this sector, and energy. So as I told you, these are the main. May we see the next slide, please? Yeah. So quickly into this, because maybe we'll have a possibility into the Q&A to go. Now there are several platforms and portals to give you information about. That's and also to look into support and development. I mean, what I want to tell you, being most of you Romanian companies, if not all, I mean, even if it is a Dutch company and is registered in Romania, still it's a Romanian company. So now the best way in which we as an embassy, as a trade office who is pending from the Ministry of Business Environment and Trade and Entrepreneurship, whatever you want to name it, in Romania. So we are always helping companies, giving first of all first information and hands-on information about the market. Telling where, how, and when to go and ask and to find new partners. But above all, I always say, look, at the beginning, startups will need, and even scale-ups, they will need when they go abroad and they think out of the box, and they want to go out of the domestic market, because the domestic market has its own capacity, as I shown you already. I mean, we are talking 800 billion GDP versus 220, 25, whatever. So that's a different story here. So now, if we want to do this, the ministry, ourselves, our network, I mean, not only Netherlands, but our network, it's helping you with also giving you a hand in order to have these subsidies for participating to trade fairs, into the trade missions. And also, that's a new and interesting program nowadays named Internationalization Program, which is very efficient, because I have encountered many companies that they are using it. So companies, they are not let's say compelled to go collectively into events, trade fairs, trade missions, but they can go themselves also, single participation to whatever. So there'll be a subsidy of about maybe 10,000 euros or even more, It depends on the budget. So now there are several other programs. You look into this, into the portals that I have given you there. This presentation will be circulated. There'll be also CNIP memory, for example, that it's helping you. There's the National Council for SMEs, private SMEs in Romania. There'll be the Chamber of Commerce. That's also, as I told you, that's NRCC, because it's our main partner in what regards the collaboration with the Netherlands. Invest Romania, that's another one. ANEIR, which is the representative of the exporters and importers in Romania. And there are several others. So, and also do not forget, there are the Romanian honorary consuls. I mean, honorary consuls here in the Netherlands representing Romania. So the network, this network that we do have 4 honorary consuls, they can help you. Next slide, please. Now, of course, I have concentrated on the prior slide on the Romanian, let's say, component here. These are the Dutch, and not only. So I'll just name few. Business GovNL, that's a very good platform. That's NRCC, as I told you, Dutch Romanian network, which is one of our main collaborators, our main partners that we have it here in the Netherlands, and we are working together for more than 2 decades, or even more than that. So I mean, that's we are friends now. Is not only having a good relation. NL in business, that's another platform. That's another entity in the Netherlands that helps the bilateral business. Enterprise Europe Network, do not forget, that's a very good plan to look into cooperation with them. There's the Chamber of Commerce is over here, KVK, as you've seen them there. Although they are not so very active into the international, but they are very active into bringing the information towards the SMEs, especially SMEs in the Netherlands. Then there are several others, businesspartners.nl and so forth. Next, please. Well, I'll just go quickly into some of the events promotion program 2022-23. That's one of them. That's looking at it. Usually, because I have mentioned many sectors, but I didn't say anything about tourism. Yeah, tourism is an important sector, and between Netherlands and Romania there are very good contacts, very good relations. Unfortunately, we are not having at this moment a tourism attaché responsible for the Netherlands. We have had about 3-4 years back. It was covered from Paris. And it was kind of a movement into the promotion of the tourism development, bilateral tourism development. But for example, in January every year in Utrecht, that's a big trade fairs for the tourism promotion. And that would be good when companies in this sector would come and participate. Infratech. Infratech, it's a important trade fair because actually it goes into direct connection into everything it means infrastructure in the Netherlands, and they are actually, the clients are there. I mean, the provinces, companies working for you know, the public works and all these investments into the infrastructure. So actually they are there, and that's so very good you to companies in this sector in Romania to be present to this trade fair. That's in Rotterdam every 2 years, and the alternative year it's happening in Essen. Europort Rotterdam, everyone knows Europort is the biggest shipbuilding industry trade fair. Every 2 years in Rotterdam, but alternative years that's also going on in Constanza. So that's good to remember. May this year, Constanza. SF Utrecht, we are trying to, together with FEPA, the Machine Building Industry Association, FEPA CME, Mrs. Gabriela Rusu, the vice chairman, we are trying to put up the national pavilion to participate to this SF Utrecht. And if I'm to talk about FEPA CME, that's also to keep in mind something. There'll be organized a trade fair in Bucharest named Metal Show in May this year, and we work hard on it in order to try to bring Dutch companies to visit this trade fair, and eventually to start building business relationship. Romanian Wine Roadshow, it is a long time discussed trade mission, but unfortunately, because of the pandemic, it has been postponed. Fortunately, or hopefully this year it will take place. The Romanian Fruits Roadshow with Mr. Bogdan Boian with Fruleg, I told you earlier, we are also hoping to have it done next year. The Romanian Dutch Economic Forum, that's something that we are working hard to have it organized hard. Why? Because of these conditions, but nevertheless, the last one has taken place in 2004 in Amsterdam, so that's high time to have it done. And NIDV trade show, that's industry of defense and security over there. And for the companies interested there, that's a good show to be there. Next slide, please. And well, here just you know, I would tell you that there are subsidies, as I told you earlier about it. What I want to finish up is that Romanian companies interested to, you know, somehow push and be more into the Dutch and Romanian business relations. I would always say, look, for the Romanian companies, let's try to think out of the box. Let's try to come and incorporate over here in the Netherlands companies to represent ourselves. Maybe we can organize a kind of a group, a cooperative, why not? And 5, 6, 7, I don't know how many Romanian companies to put up a representative, a branch representation here in the Netherlands. And from here on to start looking at the partners, because it's much simpler. Business environment here, it's very easy. I mean, everything, authorities, tax-wise, fiscality, incorporation, it's a matter of you know, hassle-free, and that's where actually we should bank on these advantages and try to be more present on the market. So now all these things have been told. I would so I'm finishing and I'm resting my case with today's presentation, and I would love to introduce you my successor, Mr. Mirja Borza, who's actually going to take over the function, the position of the trade counselor and the head of the trade office Romania here in the Netherlands in a matter of 2 weeks. That's why I'm waiting him with my open hands, and I would be delighted to see him, because I know him. He's a man of big experience and active, and as I know him, definitely he'll continue projects, but he'll give an input, a fresh view of how to do things further. So Mirja, please, you have the floor.
Good afternoon to everybody. I don't know if you can hear me. Yes?
Yes, we can see you.
Thank you very much for invitation. I would like to thank Cristian and NRCC for invitation, to congratulate the chamber for these very interesting events passed through the entire week. I was present for some of them, and it was very interesting and useful for me at the beginning of my new mission. My name is Mirja Borza. I'm already on the road to travel to Hague, where we'll arrive next week. And introducing myself, I have to say that I work here in the Department of Foreign Trade since 2007, and my previous experiences was connected with the Czech Republic and Argentina. But even between this external post, I worked in connection with economic relation with Asia, especially with China. For this reason, coming back in Europe after my first experience in the Czech Republic, I'm very eager to start the new challenge. I know that the Netherlands, it's a special country, and the Dutch people, it's a special people. I don't have many things to say now at the beginning. Just to thank Cristian for his professional work, very hard work, and very visible here in the ministry. And for me, will be difficult to equalize his level of professionalism. I do the best for this, Cristian, I assure you. And I want to assure all the companies that I will be open. I will be here to help both companies, Romanian companies, to discover new opportunities there, and Dutch companies to open some gates in Romania or to invest in Romania. I would like to wish all of you all the best for the new year, and the contacts will be the same as Cristian already used before, and we'll keep in touch. Many thanks, and all the best for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Borza. Thank you again, Mr. Mateescu. We have a question in the chat, so I'm going to read it for you. Someone said that we are working hard to decrease the Romanian-Netherlands trade deficit by promoting Romanian fresh fruits and vegetables and increasing the export of blueberries, cherries, strawberries, tomatoes to the Netherlands. And they said that they hope they will continue the good collaboration with the trade office, because they did it through you. So this was added in the chat. If there are any other questions for Mr. Mateescu.
I would have one, please. I don't know if you can hear me. Do you hear me? Mr. Mateescu mentioned a travel fair in Utrecht, which was not on the slide. Could you please tell me again the name?
Well, I'll send you, because it's very simple. Actually, it's the first one. It has a Dutch name, actually, because it's dedicated to the Dutch tour operators, and there Romania had several participation as with national pavilion, but in the last, as I told, in the last 3 years or so, it has been discontinued, the participation, because of the everyone knows how the promotion programs of the tourism did go for the last several years. But anyhow, that's a good one. And if you leave your contact details, definitely I'll send you across per email all the needed information.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? You can ask them directly.
I have a question as well.
Please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Mateescu. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you.
I wanted to know, what will you do next if you will have connection to this area from now on? I mean, maybe it's a personal question. I don't need to hear the personal reason.
It's not a personal question. Actually, Mirja has touched a bit about this. I'll return to the ministry in the foreign trade department, and as you know, or if you know, I'm telling you now, the foreign trade department is part of the, as I said, is part of the Ministry for Entrepreneurship and Tourism. This Department of Foreign Trade, as the name says, is not responsible for promoting tourism, for example, but it is responsible for the bilateral economic relations development with countries globally. I mean, whatever interest you would have for a certain market in the world, be Singapore, South America, Europe, Africa, whatever, China, as Mirja said, you just give us a call, and we'll try to clarify questions. Of course, on the site, on our sites, there are many information that would lead you to this. So that's where I'm returning.
Okay, thank you.
Another question in the chat from Dan Dragicescu. He's asking you if you have cultural Dutch connection regarding cinema and film festivals in Holland, because they are producing a history film and recently centenary film on King Michael, who they would like to present and screen in Holland.
Well, here, that's something that actually the embassies are doing. Normally, being a cultural promotion event that goes through ICR, through the Romanian Institute for Culture. This is covered from Brussels, because here in the Netherlands there's not any ICR. And actually they have been very active. So we could always provide you with information. If you send me an email, I'll definitely send you this information about it. And of course, when it comes to only picturing or having the movie in the embassy, this is something that definitely it can be arranged, and invitees can be done through us, and of course there'll be a collaboration over here. But for this, that's my colleagues from the cultural department that they are in charge with. So just send me an email and I'll put you through.
Thank you. I would also have a question for you.
Please.
What did you manage to achieve during these 5 years of mandate? And you can share with us.
Well, for telling you, this will take longer time. But what I've done in the last 5 years, as it was so very famous question in the years after 89, you know, I remember that. But actually, I'll tell you what is let's say an advantage, or where should we concentrate with, or continue, or do even better. So I just have given you an example. I mean, I would rather, you know, approach a promotion event not in a personal way. I mean, one company, one event, because this can also be done. For example, for bigger companies, it can be arranged, or even let's say medium companies, it can be arranged a type of promotion event organized by together with us. But I would better go for common events. I mean, for trade missions, for events where companies from the same sector will come and present themselves, and have a package, an offer package that would be aggregated, and then there will be much simpler for everyone to catch that level of interest from the Dutch potential partners. And another thing very important, I have mentioned several times the way I am cooperating with NRCC, but this is something that actually is not only said, it's also it is a process that has been for the last 5 years or so. It went wonderful. I mean, NRCC, whenever it has a proposal, comes to me and asks me, could we do this? I'm doing the same. And for example, I'm giving you an example with the energy and the hydrogen webinar. I went and spoke with NRCC. I spoke with Serge, with Maurits, with Anna, and told them, look, that's this project I'm having. Do you think that we could do something? And they really helped me. Then I went also to the embassy, to the Dutch embassy, and they fully merged into this project. And I have discussed, and actually that's something that people has to understand in Romania. We are more of individual approach and individual way of acting, while in the Netherlands there's this type of principle of polder principle, where people are working together. You just go in the Netherlands and you see that these people has drawn a third of their land out of the water. This can't be done only by a man, and this has been done 100 years before the machines to come and help the people to do that. So actually, if we do this together, it's much better, it's much simpler. Just to tell you also, is that, for example, that's a company in Romania, Zoom Invest. That's very, very active, and they are acting very pragmatically, going into the deep structures of the regional levels in Romania. They have good contacts into the city halls, into the local authorities, and they know exactly what they want, what the projects has to be developed and things. So that's where also I have somehow driven my efforts into seeing what Romania at a local level needs, because there are so very many silent partners from Romania that would love to have a cooperation with the Netherlands, but unfortunately their voice is not so very well heard, you know. So we have to concentrate on this type of things. We are, of course, we are not the type, and that's totally explainable. I mean, only 30 years back, 32 years back, we were confined to our own borders. We have never had a possibility of going around, getting out and interact with our other nations. So that's something that it develops by the year, and the new generations. There are many students studying over here. They are totally different from the generations before. I mean, they are bold, they are courageous, they want to do things, and they not necessarily want to become an employee of the state, which in Romania it's a let's say a common thing. So that's where we have also to look into discussing, into cooperating, into bringing the young generations, the students, to bring together and somehow you know, aggregate and correlate our efforts. And we are working wonderfully with l'SRSA, with the League of Students, the Romanian Students League abroad, and we are actually thrilled about the results, because also the Dutch companies, they want to use these students, these let's say graduates, that many of them, they speak also Dutch, although here studying in the Netherlands is not an obligation. I mean, everyone can come and can study in English language. So there are several ways of cooperating. And for example, now Romanian companies, they would need a business consultancy. Here, together with us, I see Daniel Urdoi. He's a wonderful lawyer. He has both studies of law in Romania and in the Netherlands. So who needs an advice, consultancy, what it has to be done, what should we avoid, how to, and things like this. Fiscal, due diligence, whatever, you just go and ask him. So I mean, we always try to match the two words. And unfortunately, comparing with Germany, we do not have a historic diaspora. You know what I mean by that, where these guys in Germany, they are the bridge. But we hope that diaspora that has been in the Netherlands since the last 2 decades or so, with students and things, would become the new bridge between the two countries, and not only to add to the current situation. So yeah, there'll be many things to be said. You know, I mean, if someone would ask me, it will take long to develop, because that's so many things, and so creative. You have to be always creative when you talk to the Dutch businessman. You have to find solutions. You have to know exactly how it functions. You have to know things because they know. But seeing that you know those, they'll consider you as being a trustful partner to try to and honest, to try to develop together. So that's how it is.
Thank you very much. If there are any other questions, please feel free to address them. If not, so you know, you can send them also through email to nrcc@nrcc.ro, and Anna will send them to Mr. Mateescu after. And of course, we will share with you the presentation.
We have 2 more messages on the chat. Crina, maybe you would like to read them also.
Mr. Barna said, hello, Mr. Mateescu, we wish you even more success and good health for the becoming period. And he's thanking you for the collaboration and very good relationship. And that's all, because yes, this was the message.
And Dana
for
no, I read it with the cinema.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. So if there are no further questions, Thank you again, Mr. Mateescu, for being here with us today and for all the information that you share with us. Thank you again, NRCC, for organizing and hosting this event. Thank you all for participating. Please do not forget that at 3:30 p.m. There will be another event, Dutch-Romanian Network, Get Connected in the Netherlands, and I will share the details on Facebook. So if you want to register, we will be waiting for you. Wishing you a happy holiday in case we won't see you at the event at 3:30, and have a great day ahead and happy weekend.
Thank you very much. La mulți ani pentru toată lumea.
Mulțumim.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.